Hi everyone, this is me again, iamjam. So in this video, we're going to continue our quest for the untold stories of the Japanese heroism during the World War II and the Japanese stories during the World War II. So in this video, we're going to be watching the diary of a Japanese soldier of the World War II. So it says here on the description, this is story follows Paul Tatsuguchi, a graduate of Pacific Union College and a physician who studied at College of Medical Evangelist, now known as Loma Linda University. After graduating, he and his wife returned to Tokyo as medical missionaries, where he was drafted into World War II. Little did he know who he would have to fight against. Okay, so that's all to this. Thank you so much for being here. Let's go.
Attu. It is a rocky, snow-swept island, positioned almost halfway between Siberia and Alaska. At the tip of the Aleutian volcanic island chain, the island is only 20 miles wide and 35 miles long. Its bitterly cold coast is almost not worth mentioning, but 70 years ago, during one of the bloodiest land campaigns of World War II, a story took place. This account is not one of heroes or legends, but rather one of unfortunate circumstance, where a man found himself torn between principles and countries. The Battle of Attu, or the Fall of Attu, was an American offense effort to regain ground lost to the Japanese in June of 1942.
They went to the Aleutian territories, figuring that if they could occupy it, they could use that as a staging point for then bombing the American West Coast.
Among those fighting was Paul Tatsuguchi, a graduate of Pacific Union College and a doctor who studied medicine at the College of Medical Evangelists, now known as Loma Linda University. After graduating, he and his wife returned to Tokyo as medical missionaries at the Tokyo Sanitarium. In January 1941, what was dreaded happened. Dr. Tatsuguchi, a pacifist, was ordered to stop his mission work at the Tokyo Sanitarium and was drafted into the 1st Imperial Guard Infantry Regiment. He was then sent to Army Medical School. He was only allowed to return home on assigned days, and on one rainy fall day in 1942, Dr. Tatsuguchi saw his pregnant wife and 3-year-old daughter for the last time. Dr. Tatsuguchi was sent to the Aleutians, where their principal duty was to build a small army supply base. When American intelligence heard of the Japanese occupation, it took them 7 months to respond. As soon as American forces landed on Massacre Bay, Dr. Tatsuguchi began a gripping diary that was kept for 18 days. Today, it is the only eyewitness account from the Japanese side. May 13. Battle.
The U.S. forces landed at Shibadai and Massacre Bay. There is tremendous mountain artillery gun firing. Approximately 15 patients come into the field hospital.
May 15. Battle.
Continuous flow of wounded to a field hospital caused by the fierce bombardment of enemy land and naval forces. The West Arm units have withdrawn to near Shitigati-dai. In a raid, I was ordered to West Arm, but it was called off. Just lay down from fatigue in the barracks. Facial expression of soldiers back from West Arm is tense.
By now, the Americans have captured the entire Holtz Valley, an important advance that forces back the Japanese front line. Dr. Tatsuguchi retreats, taking his makeshift hospital with him over the icy terrain. May 17. Battle.
At night, about 1800, under cover of darkness, I left the cave. The stretcher went over muddy roads and steep hills of no man's land. No matter how far or how much we went, we didn't get to pass. Was rather irritated in the fog by the thought of getting lost. Sat down every 20 or 30 steps. Would sleep, dream, wake up again. Same thing over and over again. The patient on the stretcher who does not move is frostbitten.
Americans continue the advancement and secure
gosh.
Holt's Valley, Holt's Bay, and the harbor facilities. The Americans have suffered 1,100 casualties, 500 from exposure to the elements. There are now 12,500 American troops on the island, but the Japanese force numbers less than 2,000 men. May 21, battle.
Was strafed when amputating a patient's arm. It is the first time since moving over to Chicago Harbor that I went in an air raid. Commanding officer is severe and has said his last words to his NCOs and officers that he will die tomorrow. Gave all his articles away. Hasty chap, this fellow. The officers at the front are doing a fine job. Everyone who heard this became desperate and things became disorderly.
Despite hopeless odds, the Japanese Imperial Headquarters orders Admiral Kawasa to save the Attu Island Defense Force at all costs. He is told that every attempt will be made for evacuation. American troops expand to 16,000 men.
Oh gosh. So, I was so stunned with that story, true story of a Japanese soldier. The patients have to suffer the cold weather while transporting their patients also. And it's just a very heartbreaking story. So that's it. Another bravery of the Japanese soldier in a diary form. So their pain and frustration and their struggles had been shown on that diary. It's a heartbreaking story, but it's an important part of our history, and of course the history of Japan. And this is iamjam, guys. Thank you so much for watching with me again, and I hope to see you on the next one. Bye bye.